Miles. All right, so let's just dive right in then. Back to this LSU film. I'm going to go down my list. So how I split it up this week, and it's kind of funny. My film watching process is always a bit of a moving target, but how I split up this week, I kind of have my general thoughts overall on the game, and then I broke it down into offense, and I kind of went by position group there, defense, and then we'll get into special teams as well. Real quick, when you're talking about LSU Vandy, clearly you were vastly physically superior to that of Vanderbilt. And so everything, a preface to this entire conversation is everything should be graded on a bit of that curve because your opponent was not very good. That said, I also believe that you are vastly physically superior to Mississippi State, and we saw what happened then. So at the same time, don't go too far down that curve road where you're completely discounting the improvement you saw because there was a lot of improvement. And clearly that starts with Miles Brennan and the offense and the play calling specifically. I thought they did a really good job from the jump of getting Brennan comfortable, of committing to more first down runs to set up second and manageable and then third and manageable. You're looking at an average of 3rd and 6 to go. That's good. They still need to get better on third down, even through 2 games. That is something that did not improve. That must get better. But the play calling was great. Like I said, they got Miles easy, quick throws at the beginning of the game to kind of get him warmed up. Again, get the playmakers, get the ball to them in space and just let them do their thing, whether it's Emery, TDP. You saw it time and time again. And so I really loved that. Let's just dive into our offensive thoughts. So outside of Miles, we'll get there, but the running backs were really the second big story there. And it's got to be John Emery. Now, I still think the other guys have value. TDP had a really, like I said, a couple nice runs, and Chris Curry was injured, but we know he's wearing 18 for a reason. So I don't know exactly how you split these touches up, but this is a good problem to have. I think you have 3 good backs. I think Emery's the most dynamic and easily has the highest ceiling, but I still believe in rotating all 3 of these guys, keeping them fresh late into the game, and allowing them to maximize their effectiveness at the end of the game. Because maybe one day it's not Emery's game, maybe it's TDP's, maybe it's Curry's, and the point is there, you can use the first 3 quarters as kind of fact-finding missions, first 2.5, and then for nut check time, when it matters at the end of the game, you can back up whoever the hot hand is, and you can roll with that guy, and he'll be fresh through the end of the game because of the rotation that you've employed. So we heard all offseason how the running back room was going to be the strength of this team, and John Emery and company made it feel that way a bit on Saturday. Again, I just can't get enough of Emery's pass protection, and ultimately that will, that's always the greatest hurdle for young backs to get over, and he did a fantastic job on Saturday night, both with his assignment recognition and his technique. His cut blocks were excellent. Go look at Miles. Go look at the second Terrace Marshall touchdown, which is just a really fun play to break down for multiple reasons. It's a play action, and it is Emery who lands the key block on the edge after they had Torrey Carter go one-on-one with the defensive end, which they still don't love, but you have Emery backing up, so I don't hate it. Carter gets beat. It would have been a sack. Okay, is this it, Danny? Watch the edge of the top of your screen. It would have been a sack. Oh, no, that's not it. That's the first touchdown, I believe there, Danny. But Emery cuts the end. Miles has time, and he gets it off to Marshall. What I also loved about that play, from the Brennan perspective, is that you can see him hold the safety with his eyes, which is another. We talk about a big step in a young running back's development is pass pro. A big step in a young quarterback's development is the ability to lie with his eyes. So right there, Carter gets beat. Beautiful cut block, keeps him off the edge. And there you go, is Terrace Marshall. If you get to the end zone view, Danny, you'll see Miles Brennan's eyes as he opens up the middle of the field by holding the safety off, looking one direction, and then snapping back and delivering that strike to Marshall. So, okay, and there's a snap. So it was just a beautiful play all around that I really loved. The receiving core, I thought looked excellent. I think there's great irony in the week in which we were saying, do you put Jontre Kirkland at DB? That he finally has his big breakout game offensively. 2 touchdowns for Kirkland. And all this is doing is, and how about this? Not 11 different receivers catch the ball on Saturday. Now, that's an absurd number. And it only got that high because you blew them out. But even before the backups entered, I think you were looking at 8 or 9 guys catching passes. That's really great quarterback play, and it speaks to the depth of the skill weapons that LSU has, right? I mean, it was Jure Jenkins last week, and granted, Jure had a couple nights where he had a big drop. That needs to get fixed. But Jure Jenkins, now Jontre Kirkland's emerging. I mean, we still believe that Keishon Butte and Coy Moore are going to be good, but they're just not there yet. Terrace Marshall's play speaks for itself. You have a lot of different options as far as weapons go on this team. So, and then I mean, Arik Gilbert, what more can you say about him? Also, I've got a couple plays we're going to highlight later in the week. I hope I can do visually. Arik Gilbert's a much better blocker and a much more willing blocker than people are giving him credit for a lot of times. So, I mean, he just seems fantastic. Lining him and Marshall up next to each other in the red zone. What the hell do you do? I don't know. You probably give up a touchdown is what you do. I can't believe it's taking me this long to get the offensive line. I thought the offensive line was fantastic. The line of scrimmage was consistently surging. The combo blocks in the run game, which set up a lot of the pass game, were fantastic. The zone blocks were great holes for Emery to take advantage of throughout the night. There's still room for improvement. Cam Wire got beat badly. One time in a run block, one time in a pass block, which that's just going to happen. I'm interested by some of the technique. I saw one of the powers at a shotgun where instead of a skip pull, Hines using a more traditional pull, needs to be a little tighter. There's little technique things across the board that you can fix, but it was an O-line that looked much more comfortable in its calls. The best thing is I didn't see the missed assignments that I saw last week. Liam Shanahan continues to impress me in the middle, and Ed Ingram is just playing like a monster right now. I mean, he was snatching souls on Saturday, and just if you want to see one of the flashiest, go look at the screen pass touchdown to Jontre Kirkland, where you see Ingram's speed and you see his power as he literally bench presses another human being and throws him 5 yards just with a punch. I mean, watch it right here. Look at that guy. It's awesome. So shout out Ed Ingram and the O-line. Okay, I'm going to have to rush through some of this since in classic T-Bob fashion, I've gotten a bit wordy. Defensively, I thought that Bo Pelini was very judicious in his blitzing. It was not over the top. It was not super consistent. I think they recognized where their advantages were. They had a freshman QB. They thought they could get pressure with 4. They could drop in coverage and affect him. And lo and behold, this was a very good game plan, right? We criticized the bad one against Mississippi State. Give credit to the good game plan here against Vanderbilt. You made him look every bit of the freshman quarterback that he is. Ali Gay looks fantastic. He just looks more giant than anybody on the field. But how about some of the other names? Andre Anthony flashed all over that film. It's nice to see him after years of talking about that name, hearing that name. It's nice to see him to get some in-game success. Does it carry forward in the bigger games? I don't know, but it doesn't hurt, right? It's a great building block for him to finally get some of that on film and prove that he can do it on the field. I really love watching Jabril Cox play. He was fantastic all over the place. He may not be wearing number 18, but he is easily the best linebacker on the field. The side-to-side speed, playmaking ability, Cox is great. I want to see more out of Damone Clark. Now, Verge Osbury made a very good point in hour 1 that these two offenses you face maybe weren't the best for Damone Clark shining, but I'm just still seeing a little hesitancy in his reads. I'm not seeing the playmaking ability that I would have hoped for, so we'll have to continue to watch that. The impact of Derek Stingley was felt. Completely shut down his side of the field. Him and Elias Ricks are going to be a real problem for teams. As Ricks continues to develop, like I said, their natural ball skills. It's probably the best combination in the country in that regard. Ricks now with 2 picks through 2 games. And look, we always talk about, right, this is a constant cycle at LSU 1. Cornerback 1 is so dominant that nobody attacks him. Cornerback 2 is also very good, but they do attack him. He then amasses a ton of stats, and then the next year that guy becomes 1, a new guy moves into 2, and the cycle repeats itself. So if you're just talking from an interception statistical standpoint, Elias Ricks could set records this year. He's already 2 for 2. He's only going to get more and more opportunities to come up with those picks because people are not going to attack Derek Stingley. So Elias Ricks, your development can make this defense a top defense, potentially, at least a top pass defense in the country. One thing that might hold them back, I still want to see a bit more out of the defensive line. Now, there were some nice moments. Trez Moore had a nice pass rush for a sack. Apu Aika had a couple really nice plays. I love watching him make plays. He's just so big to be moving around like that. It's fantastic. But I still see a little youth on this defensive line. The stunts need to be tighter, and that's technique stuff that'll improve with time. And getting Glenn Logan back is going to be huge, because then I feel like you're going to feel really good about your two deep rotation, no matter what that shakes out to be in terms of Logan, Farrell, Ika, and is Joseph Evans the fourth guy in that mix, I believe? So I'm looking forward to Glenn Logan back. And then finally, special teams. Derek Stingley Jr. shown easily the best return game he's ever had, partially because Vanderbilt had some really bad punts and coverages, but also Derek making plays at other times of the night. Cade York remains a weapon. Knocks in the 50-plus yarder like it was nothing. Still perfect on the season. Cade York's been great, and so has Von Rosenberg in the coverage teams as well. So just a really solid day. All three phases from LSU. And as we said, this is not to say that this will always be the case going forward, right? Like Miles will still be tested against the better teams, and it will still look bad at times, and it may cost you a game, even at least once this season. I don't think it cost you Mississippi State. It may end up costing you a game, but what you saw Saturday is LSU proving that, okay, there is a lot of good here, there's a lot of right here, and there's a lot of improvement to be made, and we can make that improvement, and if nothing else, while like we'll see what happens against the top tier teams, that was kind of a statement game that I don't think they're going to lose any of these kind of wins that we had marked up on the schedule beforehand. This team needed this as a confidence gainer. You got one more now with Mizzou, and then the matchup with Florida. So that was kind of that's my very quick, very rapid overall breakdown of what you witnessed on Saturday. A very good game, a bounce-back performance for the defensive staff, a bounce-back performance for Miles Brennan, and a confidence gainer going in to next week. All right, more NFL talk now when we get back, so stick around, get your takes in the YouTube chat. We'll get to them here on OTBOT.
OTBOT.